Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm sharing what I eat in a day when I am isolated with my family at home, and it doesn't start particularly healthily on this day as we decided to have pancakes. Dylan had asked me a couple of days before if we could have pancakes and I had everything that I needed, so I thought it was a good enough reason to make pancakes for breakfast. So this is a recipe I've followed for years. It's for a fluffy American style pancake rather than the thinner ones, but I always use the same recipe because they turn out really well, and actually on this day they turned out the best I think I've ever made them. And I did a batch of plain ones for the kids, and then for mine I added some blueberries, which was a really good idea because they were completely yummy, and I would definitely recommend adding those into the pancakes as they're cooking on the one side and then flipping them over. They were really good. And this whopping bottle of maple syrup Dan actually picked up from Costco. So there you have it. That was our breakfast for the morning, blueberry pancakes, and the kids just had plain pancakes with maple syrup. The only thing I find with pancakes is I'm always really hungry within about an hour, whereas if I have porridge, which is what I normally have, it keeps me full right up until lunch. So that's the only downside with pancakes, but worth it, I would say. So Marnie normally rejects pancakes and just licks the maple syrup off them and leaves the pancakes, but on this particular day she ate them all, so she must have decided that she likes them after all. So I'm actually having my second glass of water of the day there. I'd already had a coffee as well in the morning, which I forgot to film. Then on to lunch, and my favourite thing in the world, well, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but one of my favourite things is pickled beetroot. I'm obsessed, I absolutely love it, and I go through phases where I will eat it all the time and then I won't have it for ages, and then I get really excited to have it again. And the best combination is a beetroot and cheddar sandwich, but on this particular day I decided to have it in a bagel, which was good, but I kind of spoilt it for myself a little bit because the bagel was still a bit hot. When I put the cheese in, the cheese went a bit melty and the beetroot went a bit warm, and that isn't the one. It's much better when the beetroot is really cold from the fridge and the cheese hasn't gone squishy and melty. So kind of spoilt my lunch a little bit, but the flavour combination was still top notch. It's definitely one of my favourites. If you like beetroot and you haven't tried it with cheese, I'm sure you have, but top tip from me, give it a go. So I just had it with some olives, which are another one of my favourites, and some cucumber on the side of my plate. I always get the fear when I eat beetroot that I'm going to end up with it all over me, because it has happened one too many times. So proceed with caution, but it was a good lunch day for me. So after lunch I decided I needed some more caffeine because homeschooling, and I decided to try this recipe that I've seen people doing all over Instagram and YouTube. I don't even know what it's called. I think it's was it Dalgona coffee? I'm not 100% sure, but it's really easy. You just use instant coffee granules, which I don't normally have, so I was surprised to find some at the back of the cupboard. So I think it's 2 tablespoons of coffee granules, 2 tablespoons of sugar, which is a lot. Maybe it's teaspoons. I would look it up before you try it, don't go by my measurements. And then equal amount of water, and you whisk it, ideally with a handheld electric whisk, but I don't have one, so I had to use my stand mixer, which just made it a big faff, but I wanted to try it. And you whisk it until it comes almost like a whipped cream consistency. Then you can either use it with warm milk or with iced milk like I have. I just use almond milk, and spoon it on top of your milk. Then give it a stir to mix it together a little bit, and despite the faff, which would probably stop me from making it again unless I had a handheld whisk, it was really tasty, and I'm glad I tried it because I was curious, wanted to know what it's like, and I do enjoy a coffee. So after my coffee I needed to sit with Dylan to do some maths because he was stuck on a few questions, so we just sat together for a couple of hours going through one of his worksheets, and it was a test for me, if I'm completely honest. I haven't done some of the things that he's covering for, well, a long time, and it's safe to say that I hadn't retained the information from when I learnt it the first time, and by that point it was time to prepare dinner. The kids actually had some leftovers from the night before, so I decided to make Dan and I one of my favourite dinners. It's not something that Dan would probably choose, but he really enjoyed it. And there's no recipe to follow, it's just a bit of a mismatch of things that I enjoy. So the first up is some roasted sweet potato slices. So I just cut them into half moon shapes, just cover them with a bit of olive oil and some sea salt and pop them in the oven. And while they're in the oven, I just made some spiced chickpeas. So just a regular tin of chickpeas in a pan with some olive oil, and I used this peri peri salt from Nando's. Then we're going to have it with some Cajun salmon. So I'm just sprinkling the Cajun spice mix on top of the salmon, wrapping them in foil, then popping those little foil parcels into the oven for about 20 minutes. While they're cooking, I just rinse off some curly kale, which I'm going to put in next to my half-cooked sweet potatoes. So just get them out of the oven, pop it on the tray. Again, a bit of olive oil and salt, and put it back in the oven for 15 minutes roughly. Whilst that's on the go, I just sliced up some avocado, some cucumber, red onion, what else did I use? Spinach, and some red pepper, which I just diced into little pieces, and put those all on the plate. Once the sweet potato, salmon and kale is ready, I just pop that on the plate and drizzle some tahini over the top, which just adds a really nice creaminess and flavour. Then I sprinkled some sesame seeds on top of that. God, this sounds like a lot of work, doesn't it? But trust me, it really is worth it. It's such a nice combination of flavours, and there you have it. That is our dinner. Looks so healthy, and I would happily have that for dinner again tonight if I had all the stuff I needed to make it. But even Dan said it was a top-notch dinner. It's the kind of thing I like to eat all the time. Dan is more of a meat and potatoes kind of guy, or pizza. But yeah, if I had my way, I'd eat that kind of meal all the time, followed by half a bar of dairy milk once the kids have got to bed. And that's exactly what I did. Have you tried this one, the coffee one? It's seriously good, I would recommend. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all keeping safe and well, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!